clean core architecture seems to be like a music for all developers' ears. But now let's say how to make music for the SAP integration consultant ears with the maybe SAP integration add-on. Antonio.
Thank you very much, Jakub. Thank you very much. I mean, before we start the presentation, I want to say one thing. Idols are going to stay, okay? At least until I get retired. No, but really, if you don't understand the idols, this is clean core. Okay, type B or whatever. Nah. Okay, so we'll start saying thank you to my colleagues because we were a little bit of ahead of time, so I will have more time to speak about my favorite topic, integration. Okay, so let's start, and I hope that I can use some time, but if not, we will have a little bit more of a break. First, what we have in mind about integration. So we are all with the transition between PIPO, we are doing new implementations, some of them using clean core. But in Code10, we have a clear vision of the integration. And what we want to do is not just connecting point A with point B. What we want to do is establish an architecture that it can last for the next 20 years. Okay? It's not something that we need to go and do the check, and that's on. And for that, we have 3 pillars around the integration. So in order to have a proper transition from the legacy world into the cloud world, we need to apply good methodology, we need to have good tools, and we need to have a governance out of the integration platform. And this is, you know, we always say, methodology, tools, governance, but maybe it's better to tell it like in a story. And this is a story that probably the ones that they were listening to me multiple times, they are aware and they already listened, but I will repeat it again. So how we were doing these things, no? For large enterprise, when we need to start working with Integration Suite, we have some time of preparation. And this time, sometimes it takes even more than 6 months. We are getting ready, discovering the system, running proof of concept of every single scenario. Okay, how we will do the ADI transmission, like that. How we will do the other one. And then we end up with a set of blueprints in the system in order to apply for each single different scenario. And this is something that is ideal world, but we cannot make it for all the customers. So what we try to do and what we try to bring is more than a tool. It's a methodology, a governance, and of course, there is a component of tool behind it. And this we call it Code10 CI Accelerator. Okay? So mainly, Code10 CI Accelerator objective is to speed up and accelerate the transition to the cloud. But that's not the main goal. The main goal is to keep the quality and to assure that with all this integration pattern, with all this pre-built content that we have, we keep the quality and we keep the usability of Integration Suite. We heard multiple times, in PIPO, I can resend this message. In PIPO, I was doing that, I was doing the other thing. And this is a different platform with different usability. So if we dig a little bit more in the story of Code10 CI Accelerator, we can see some line, okay, timeline. I mean, in 2019, we opened Code10. And it was not in the garage of my home, just to make it clear. It was less fancy than that. It was just in the living room. When we opened the Code10, the first thing that we were doing, it was integrations and an app development, no? But my part, it was the integration. With the time, in 2021, we discovered the need of using integration patterns. And we have a very nice story that I'm trying to look if Ivan is in the room. I think he has some problems with a customer, so he couldn't make it. But we went live with one big customer, a retailer, a lot of shops. And suddenly we were receiving and transmitting millions of messages per hour. And Integration Suite, it was behaving good. But what was the problem? The problem was in the SAP systems, in the S/4HANA systems, because we were doing some heavy mappings about POS thingy and analyzing this, and we were keeping the ICM connections on, and this was generating lags in the transmission. So we start to decide to use integration patterns in order to decouple the communications, the asynchronous communications in this case, and solve that problem. Years after, we realized that the SAP released the concept of pipeline, that it's not longer than what we were been doing since 2021, and we start to collecting these integration patterns or blueprints that we were doing for companies. In 2022, we decided to make it as a package. So it was how we can structure this thing. No, just have it in a repository of Code10, and then somebody asking me, hey, how did you do that? So we decided to create a package out of this. Not only with integration patterns, but also with group script, with functionalities, everything that it can be useful in a project, we were putting it over there. And we call it Accelerator back in the days. And then in 2023, we decided, okay, this is coming again another mess, because we are having a lot of objects in the same place. So we need to kind of reorganize it and make it better, and doing a release procedure in order to test it, in order to be sure that what we are installing in a customer is working fine. So we did another turn over there, and we create some categories. We create the category of integration patterns. We create the category of monitoring and alerting tools. And then we create the category of toolkit. And in the category of toolkit, what we have there? We put everything that we could not match in the other two categories. So it's like a kind of Swiss knife that you can open one, and is a disaster recovery, and another one is a Groovy script for transforming an IDOC into a flat file. With the years, we realized that the concept of the pipeline that SAP released, I think in 2024, and 2024 or 2023? I think 24, I think so, yeah. So the concept of pipeline, it was very similar to what we were doing 3 years before, and it has some gap. And the gap, it was the monitoring. No, it was very complex in Integration Suite to track the messes and understanding the different steps that they will do in the monitor, and knowing if the whole process end-to-end it was successful. And we start to realize that we need to develop some applications in order to improve the monitoring of Integration Suite. And we decide to go for CAP applications inside the BTP. I know that there are other tools that are external tools that it allow you to monitor Integration Suite, but we want to do something in their own BTP account in order to avoid to send messes outside. So with this principle, we don't consume messes, and we don't incur in costs of the monitoring. We believe that this is something that it has to be included in SAP, and this is how we try to make it. And advancing with the time, in 2025, we have now a full set of CAP applications that they enhance the capabilities of Integration Suite. And they really bring an additional value to the tool, and I'm very happy to say that we will continue increasing the number of applications that we have and the number of functionalities that we have for Integration Suite. So, my favorite slide. I think I've been showing the same slide since 2021. This is an integration pattern for asynchronous communications. And it has a purpose. It's not just because we want to do a drawing and complicate the things with integration. So I will try to summarize it very, very fast. Okay. So the first layer that we have here is the decoupling layer, and this, or the coupling tier. The objective of this is to break the synchronous between the sender system and the Integration Suite. So with that, what we get basically is performance, but not performance for Integration Suite, performance for the SAP system or whatever sender system it is. And then we drop the message into a JMS queues. And we have another tier that we call it the routing tier. And over there is where we place the logic to decide what transformation we need to execute and which systems they need to receive this message. And this transformation is called by a process direct. So it's a synchronous communication between this and the other tier, and we execute the mapping. So we have this possibility of placing a reprocessing mechanism in the routing tier, depending on the result of the application tier. The last step is the dispatching. So the third step is the transformation. Okay, this is not rocket science. We need to do an application tier every time that we need to have a new requirement of mapping. Okay, so basically, when we go to a project, the rest of the things are deployable, and you just need to add some customizing, and the only work for developers is in the application tier. The last tier is the dispatching one. And again, this last tier is to break all the possible synchrony with the receiving system, but also to grant the possibility of retrying the message that been already transformed. So we have two restarting points: the routing tier that is the result of the application, and the dispatching tier. Because as probably you know, you don't have the possibility of retrying in Integration Suite out of the box. Okay. So then we build a set of alerting and monitoring tools. So we believe that the old school emails of PIPO, they were not very human readable and nobody liked them. And we decided, okay, I think we can do better. No, we can. First, we started with a very nice email, no? HTML version, nice, more descriptive, etc. But then we decided to do, okay, there are a lot of ETL tools that are in the market, and we can do a direct integration out of the box, the same for all the integrations that you have, and we can create tickets in Seaside, in Jira, in Zendesk, in ServiceNow, name it, and we will make it. But not only that, we want that our consultants or customer consultants, they don't get notified by, you have a new Jira ticket. And we made integration out of messaging tools like Teams, Slack, or even we can make it with WhatsApp for Business. Okay. Let's check a little bit how they are because these are Code10 talks, no? So we need to talk a little bit of technology. So what is the technology behind the apps that we are implementing? So this is purely based in the best practice of the CAP applications. And we have two mechanisms of authentication, okay? The Cloud Identity Service and the Trusted Management. Why we have two mechanisms? Because at some point we want to give a layer of governance into Integration Suite. So nowadays, if you have one account of Integration Suite, you can see all the messages that they go through the same, in the same tenant. And we want to filter depending on the role of the people. So for that is why at this moment we have two authorization models here. This is an application that is deployed in the work zone. Okay, it's done with HTML5, and we have a very interesting functionality here. So we have customers that they process millions of messages per day, but really millions of messages per day. And all the possibilities of doing the monitoring, they were super slow. So what we built is a SQL-inline memory where we are caching the logs of the message and the results, and the user experience is amazing. We tested this thing and showing 30 million messages in a matter of 1 second, no more. When we showed this to SAP, they were like amazed and they asked what technology we use behind this. Because if we have a persistence database, it will be way slower, even use a HANA. So we have different models. One that is purely in memory, SQLite, but also we can use a persistent database, in order to load this in memory functionality. I think this is all. Then if you have any question, but focusing in the technologies that we use here. So we use SAP UI5 for the front end. We use the term Horizon. I know that maybe you believe that is not true, but we implement the Horizon theme before Integration Suite changed to Horizon theme. And please, Luis, say that this is true. So we were laughing a lot because we really hit the point that we have the same theme as Integration Suite. No? And why we have the same theme is because we want that our add-on is just an extension of Integration Suite. So if we have the same look and feel, it will be more natural. And again, the backend is purely using the best practice of SAP CAP applications, and is built with Node.js. So let's see it working. Okay. Let me open a browser. Let me refresh it. Okay, so here we have the two possibilities of logging. Sorry, 1 second. I think I'm going to do something bad. Yeah, here we go. Okay. I think I closed the presentation, but let's reopen it again. Okay. Yeah. So I just did the login. We had two options over there for login. I used the default identity provider before you arrived, but this is the welcome page. Okay. So in the welcome page, what we want to have is some KPIs in order to have a fast look of our system. So we have a certificate monitoring. That's amazing that. Okay, we are fine. Yeah. So we have a certificate monitoring where we can see in one shot which certificates are expired, which ones are not, and which one will expire. This really seems a basic thingy, but have it in one place is super useful. Okay, and then we have a dashboard about the status of the iFlows that we have deployed, if they have errors and so on. We can have here. I don't know. Should I? Maybe let me move a little bit the cable. Okay, let's continue. I hope that. So we have a process monitoring here. This is a process monitoring. It's not a message monitoring, where we can see the status of all the messages that we have here, and in different perspectives, no, by bars or by a list, etc. And we can also check by message, by sender, by receiver, the interfaces that we are sending. And we are including in every release more and more KPIs. Okay, so the first functionality that we built here, aside of the monitoring, it was the integration dashboard. So why we build an integration dashboard if we have all the packages of Integration Suite? It was because a customer requirement. So we have a customer that they have factories all around the world, and they have the need of, when they were doing plant maintenance, to switch off the communication channels and switch on whenever they want. And this was not possible in Integration Suite. So we built that in one place. We can start and stop massively in iFlows. This was very good because it works asynchronous, so we send a message, deploy, 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 or on deploy, on deploy, on deploy, and you don't have to worry. So this improved the downtime of their interfaces a lot, because it was taking like 1 or 2 hours to do the deploy and on-deploy, and with this it took minutes. Then we build our process monitor. So our process monitor, it is a real process monitor. It monitors the message end to end, and is compatible with our methodology or patterns, but also with the pipeline concept or whatever patterns of integration do they have. So when we click in one of the on the message, we can see the different steps. Let's hope that I click in the right one. Yeah, you can see the different steps and how they were executed. So we have a you cannot see. Let's do we have time, no worries. Let's. It's only on site. Okay. Okay, it's back. So we have a problem with the loosened cable here. Okay. So I just click in one message and we can see that the 4 steps has been executed. That we have a list here on the different steps that they were executing. No. No, it's okay. Okay, sorry for the ones that are online, but we have a problem with the screens here. I think now it's fixed. So yeah, as I was saying, we can see that the different messages were executed in the different times, and we can even navigate to the standard monitoring of Integration Suite as is native and check over there the message. So one of the principles that we have is that we don't read any single information. We only read logs. We don't store any single payload, any single sensible information. That's still using the standard of SAP, but we read the logs and the result of the logs. Okay, so we can see that it follows to the proper message that is based on a correlation ID, how we track and trace. And then normally the people ask me, okay, but how difficult is to set up these things, these monitoring steps, because it requires a minimum configuration. So we do have a process cockpit where we can click add here, put some names, okay, so we can name the process ID as you want. This is what will be displayed. Message type, I recommend to use the right message type, and then the sender information. And then we can choose between our synchronous for complex scenarios pattern, or asynchronous pattern, or freestyle. And in the freestyle here, we can add as many steps as we want. Okay? We introduced recently another functionality, because this was like, okay, but I need to remember the steps. I mean, I always hope that you remember the steps that you develop, but just in case you don't remember the steps that you develop, what we implement here is that we display here not configured. So they are the messages that they are not configured. And if we go here, we can see that we have some messages that they are not configured. So if I click here, I can see, okay, I recognize this interface. This is one of the things that Javier is doing and implementing a Kafka layer in order to do communications using Avro schemas and validations and doing consumer idempotency with Kafka. Let's do the configuration for that. So when I click add process, I have even all the list of items that I need to configure. So let me put here POC Kafka consumer. I think web shop, no? Web shop. Okay, so this message type is web order, and the sender is Kafka. And then I go and I say, okay, so the first layer is L01 Kafka consumer web shop order created, like it is in the list here. Hop. The second one is integration pattern 02. Let's use order. Drag and drop. Thank you very much. I think you should come here to do that. I can use drag and drop. Okay. And like that, create and close. When we create this, then the message will start to appear here if we add a small filter of dates, September, here, apply. And now we can see POC Kafka consumer with 4 mesas successfully configured. Okay? So the configuration is very easy. Okay? We want to make something easy and something that it provides additional value. Another functionality that we recently developed and is the capability of resending mesas from here. So we can resend mesas from the deleted queues or even delete mesas. Let's imagine that there is the case that we need to delete mesas because it is not supposed to be processed again. So we implement the functionality of deletion mesas. I will be a little bit fast because if not, we will not finish. So value mappings. Value mappings, again, all has a story behind this, and the value mappings for the ones that have done a lot of projects with PIPO, probably they have a Excel that it was connected via URL to the integration repository, and you were maintaining the value mappings over there in the Excel and publish automatically to the integration repository because it was horrible to maintain them in the integration repository. And some of the values were changing depending on the test system, quality, retrofit, production, and so on. So at the end of the day, the maintenance of the value mapping without that Excel, it was very, very tiring. So we decided, okay, let's build the same, but with a CAP application, and let's make it to look nicer than that. So we can search for value mappings. Value mappings are conversions for the ones that they don't know. So WBMS conversions, and we can check here. Okay, we have some value mappings from a WBMS to S4HANA. We have a value mapping to convert a plant to a cost center and a plant to a plant. Okay, we can see the values. We can easily add values here, and we can export and import into Excel sheets. So if we need to do a massive modification and so on, we can export into an Excel and do replacements, etc., etc. So this is a very good way to work with value mappings, more comfortable, more user-friendly, that it will enable the developers in order to do it in a proper way. I will jump again to the home because now I want to show you the certificate monitoring. So I always go to the certificate monitoring by clicking the certificates that I need to update. So yeah, we see that the test certificate from the Wikipedia, it needs to be updated this month. Okay, but here we can check in the next 2 months, or all the expired certificates that we need to do a cleanup in the system, but for the demo is quite good. Or the ones that they will take more than 2 months to expire. Okay, even we can clean and do that. From here we can do all the operations. We can rename, we can update, we can download, or we can even delete the certificate. So we can implement all the operations that you can do with the certificates in Integration Suite. Then we are implementing, and this is the first version, it will require more versions, our own vision of a partner profile. So this is used for B2B communications, and it's slightly different from what SAP is suggesting, because there are some gaps in the SAP version, and we also have some gaps that we want to cover with our version. So this offers an additional possibility in order to do B2B integrations. And then we have a chat with AI. So we have a lot of things before, and now let's check if the AI it will work. No? So we checked that the Wikipedia certificate it was going to expire. No? Let's see. Which is going to expire this month? Which certificate is going to expire this month? Okay, I hope that the AI is doing his job. Let's click here, and yeah, it hit it. So the certificate of the Wikipedia is highlighted that it will expire this month, and we need to update it. And also we add some buttons here in order to don't have to type it, and you can do things. So like, for example, value mappings with the description of BMS. So like that, all the developers know which value mapping they can use if they are working with transformation with a BMS. And this is very useful. And the AI suggests all the value mappings that we have in our repository related with the BMS conversions. So these are the tools that we develop in the CI Accelerator. Let me jump again to the presentation. I hope that I will not break anything. Okay, I'm going back in presentation mode. Yeah. And let's talk about one thing that nobody wants to hear. No? What is the licensing model? No? How much it will be all the cost of all these things. No? So I'm very happy to say that this is for free. We are doing this for free. So this is saving us a lot of hours of work. This is giving the quality that our customers are demanding. So whenever somebody is doing a project with us, the Code10 CI Accelerator is for free forever. Then we have two licensing options, that is to support the initiative of the Code10 CI Accelerator. This is what we call standard and full memberships, that basically what they are supporting is that we continue releasing functionalities to the CI Accelerator. So the ones that they do a project, they get the actual version that we have. And the ones that they did a project 2 years ago with us, they got the version of 2 years ago, because we are not going to update and so on. There is a lot of work. But the ones that are supporting this initiative, they get 2 releases per year with new functionalities. No? For the standard ones, we do an installation manual. We show a change log of how it's doing. And it's also coming with 8 hours of integration architect support on demand. So basically what we do is telling them how they can do the integrations, etc. If you are a gold member, then you have more hours of integration architect support. But also you have one very good thing, that is what we call customer influence program. So customer influence program is that you can suggest, let's make it clear, it's not mandatory, but you can suggest functionalities and we really take them in consideration. I think so far, all the considerations that they were coming from the influence program, we were able to deliver them, and if not, they are in the oven already. So, thank you very much. Now we will do a small break. We will be here by 6:30, 40? Okay, so 6:40. And I don't know if you have any questions related with the CI Accelerator. Juan?
No, you're touched. You say.
Okay, so thank you very much.